everyone, I'm Becky.
I'm Sarah.
And we're doing Bickering Book Reviews. Today we are talking about A Sunbeam by Tillie Walden, which we both got eARCs through Netgalley from First Second, so thanks.
Love First Second.
They are very good.
They're my faves.
And so this book is about Mia, and Mia is the newest member of a crew sent into deep space to rebuild structures. She is haunted by a past love and slowly forms friendships with the other members of her team. As secrets are revealed, Mia tries to find a way to be reunited with her lost love.
Why are they rebuilding structures? What
They
happened?
don't explain it. They don't explain
happened?
anything. I was so disappointed by this book. I loved spinning.
And why was Grace stuck on her world? Like, I don't understand. Like, what was that about?
And wasn't the word called, like, staircase or something weird?
I think so. And, like, did it have something to do with what they were rebuilding with the staircases in the one thing? I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
And I don't know if it's because I had an eARC or what, but I could not read the font they used. I literally, I read it on my MacBook. I made it big. I could not read it.
It was a struggle. But I do wonder if that'll be different in print.
I'm hoping
it might
it'll be
read
different in print.
But, and, why were the spaceships, why did they look like fish? Was there a reason? What's going on here? And what is this game that they played? There was that labyrinth somewhere that you were, going through in the dark and the ships, and I'm like, what's going on?
Well, and, I mean, it was a webcomic, so maybe if you read the webcomic, things are explained.
Perhaps.
And the only reason I know it was a webcomic was I tried to go in and do a review on Goodreads, and I couldn't find it until I went under webcomic. And so, I don't know.
And where are the men? How do we, how do they make babies? Where are the men? There are no guys in this book at all.
See, I didn't get that.
Which is an interesting concept, but, no dudes.
Well, and I had a hard time because everybody kind of looked alike. And I'm like, is that on purpose?
Well, especially Grace's family. Everybody, I was like, oh, she's seeing Grace. Oh, no, that's not Grace.
Yeah. And I wanted to like this. Because I felt like spinning Tillie Walden, and I know some people had problems with spinning, which I don't understand. I thought it was such a strong narrative about coming out and really understanding yourself. And then I was like, yay, I'm going to read the new Tillie Walden book. And it's long. It's 550 pages. And I upload it, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on.
Well, I think what it is that her voice is quiet. I think she had a quiet voice in her first book. And this one, because it just seems like the characters are kind of in their heads and sitting kind of in this vast lonely. It feels like a visual representation of depression, if that makes sense.
Maybe that's what it was supposed to be, and I just didn't get it.
But both of those books really, the characters seem very lonely, so being lonely and being on their own, there really isn't a lot of dialogue going on. And so there's not a lot of explanation kind of surrounding the narrative, and it will work with her coming out story because it's set in the real world, you know what I mean? You kind of get what's going on, and visually you can see it. But in a sci-fi world, you really have to world build.
Right.
And you can't do that if the character is alone, not saying anything.
Well, and I feel like a lot of times I'm thinking of saga, I feel like in graphic novels or fantasies and or sci-fi, you get not pages, but chunks of explanations of things. Where you have those words on the page that are not part of the dialogue. And I feel like they didn't do that at any point in this.
Right.
And I think you needed that because the world building, her illustrations are perfectly fine, but
you need to describe what's going on.
You need even just a little bit oh, well, they're all, what school? What planet are they from? They're at some school in space, but what is this school? Are they from Earth? Did they tell us they're from Earth?
Does Earth even exist?
How are they traveling? What galaxy are you in? What is going on?
And even kind of explanation of the flora and fauna on Grace's home planet.
Right. And so
what is that? What happened?
So I read this, and I know I read it, but at the same time I'm I have no imprint from reading it. I can't tell you what happened. I can't tell you about the characters. I can't tell you to care about things because I don't know.
I can certainly see a readership for it, though. I can see readers who will want kind of the quiet, lonely books that this is. It
kind of feels I remember in my late teens and early 20s, I loved those movies where it was like one person in a room and like one camera and like and like things aren't explained and it's all moody and like, or you just follow a person on their day and it's like nothing good happens to them. And I still kind of enjoy those movies, but and that's what I think, that's what you're going for. And I'm thinking like the old school indie films, like,
which work in the real world but not in the sci-fi world.
No, because they made some of those and it didn't work for me.
See, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. We figured it out.
we should rate it. So our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We go down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
I'm going 2 unicorns. I'm sorry.
So on Goodreads I said 3, but then I wrote in my review 2.5 rating, and I feel like I want to say 3 because I like spinning so much, but I might have to go with 2.
Well, I really want to support this author, especially because this is her second book. So like she's newer, and I am all about supporting graphic novel.
Well, I think she's actually had books that were released in Europe before, even though she's from the United States. I was reading her biography on Goodreads. Yeah, I mean, I think she's got like so much potential, and I think she's got this voice that we're not hearing, and I feel like this book, we didn't hear her voice, if that makes sense. So that is where we are on A Sunbeam by Tillie Walden.
All right.
Bye.